Hey everyone, after the tragic passing of Akira Toriyama, I decided to finally read the Sandland manga since it had just been sitting on my shelf for months. It was great and I wish I had read it sooner, but it was sort of perfect timing since I heard about the Sandland game coming out in about a month when I finished reading. I figured I would give the demo a try and let you all know what I thought about it and if I recommend picking up the full game when it comes out later this month. And well, I definitely have some thoughts, so let's get into it. For the unfamiliar, Sandland is the story of Beelzebub, Rao, and Thief, two demons and a former sheriff. They live in a world that has been destroyed by war and drought, where water is scarce and can only be bought from or stolen from the king of the land. Fed up with this, they team up to find the last remaining source of water and figure out why the desert dried up in the first place. It's a fairly short story that's full of misadventures, well fleshed out characters, and a whole lot of heart, especially considering that the original story is only one manga volume. An anime series was also released that is currently expanding on the world and fleshing out the characters, but did any of that story transfer to the game? It's honestly really tough to say how much or how well the Sandland story will transfer to the game, just because of the simple fact that they include basically nothing in the demo in terms of story. It was pretty confusing going into this game for a number of reasons. I know not every demo is the same, but I sort of imagine that you would get the experience of at least one mission related to the story as well as introduce you to the main characters. Instead, you were plopped into the desert and just sort of expected to aimlessly explore. Now that could work if it's used as a way to get to know the characters, but that isn't what's happening in my experience. Instead, when you start the demo, the main characters have already teamed up with no explanation for who they are, how they know each other, or really what they are supposed to be doing at all. I can only imagine that this could be extremely confusing for someone who has no idea about the source material. I'm not sure if that would really be who ILCA is targeting, but regardless, you should be able to understand what's going on in a demo without having to know the story beforehand. On top of all this confusion, the whole time you are playing, you are forced to listen to the main characters talk to each other as you explore the world. Now, there are good ways to do this and there are bad ways. Sandland makes me want to never listen to dialogue again, so I would say that that's probably not a good way to do it. In the couple of hours I messed around with the game, I must have heard the same 5 conversations at least 20 times. If anything, it only made me more aware of how little there was going on in this game's demo. But honestly, demos have presented their game's stories in worse ways before. Given the fact that this is a game, the gameplay is of equal importance to talk about, and I was just as confused and a little disappointed when it came to that aspect of Sandland as well. I wouldn't say the gameplay is bad per se, maybe uninspired might be a better word to describe how I feel about it. In the demo, you are thrust into the desert, as I sort of mentioned earlier. Without any real objective, you will wander the desert either running or using one of 3 vehicles, which I assume they will expand on in the full game. There are many things I'm hoping that they expand on in the full game. The vehicles you can choose from are a mech, a motorcycle, and a tank. I will say that they are pretty varied, and it seemed like you could do a lot to customize them to fit whatever playstyle you want. Personally though, I mostly use the motorcycle to explore the map and the tank to fight enemies. I would have loved to use the mech more, but I just couldn't see a good use case for it for me. Maybe in the full game I'll find something that would make me use it more. But I mentioned combat, so I want to briefly touch on that. All in all, it was solid, which is a plus. While playing as Beelzebub, you can do your normal light and heavy attacks as well as special moves. These work well enough, but can take a lot of time compared to your vehicles. They're going to be able to do the same thing but with projectiles, so you'll be able to dispatch enemies a lot quicker while dodging attacks much easier. I don't know if I would say that this is too easy because I did die a couple times, but it didn't really feel difficult either. It's hard to strike that balance, and it feels like Sandland is almost there if they can just tweak things a little bit. Time will definitely tell on that. As for the enemies themselves, there wasn't much to say in my opinion. You have your average goons on foot as well as in vehicles. There are also dinosaurs and scorpions that will attack you. Most enemies have some sort of charge attack or will try to jump on you. This can be pretty easily avoided though once you learn their patterns. I soon found myself avoiding conflict for the most part so I could see if there was anything interesting to do in the desert. While driving around, I did find a few things that gave me hope for the final release. There were towers dotting the map that could be interacted with and repaired once you get the right resources. Although not the most revolutionary thing nowadays, it did give me a reason to explore the desert. There were also ruins that you could explore as a short distraction from the main game area available in the demo. It was a pretty small area, but it did make me think that there might potentially be more to this game than the demo might lead you to first believe. And that's really all I have to say about the game, I guess. While not the best demo, I don't want to completely throw this game under the bus. It may not have been what I was expecting, but that is only a small part of what will be in the full game. And to give Sandland and Bandai Namco the benefit of the doubt, the trailers they've been showing off have been a lot more compelling compared to the actual demo, just with the areas and story content they've been showing. It seems that they do have an interesting story planned, so I don't know why they refused to showcase that in the demo in any way. So while I wouldn't recommend going out and pre-ordering this game today or even buying it on release day, I will be keeping my eye on this because it might just turn out to be a much better game than first impressions would first imply. What about you guys? Are you looking forward to the Sandland game, or are you more interested in the manga or the anime that's currently airing? I'd love to hear your opinions down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.